This is the lesson on creating and interpreting representations of relations. And that's a pretty big mouthful of basically learning other ways that we can show relations um, in functions. This is day 2. And I really recommend that if you've no experience with the lesson that goes right before this, you have no idea what a function is, that you go watch that first. Because you will be lost. So please go watch that first. Now, with that said, I want to talk about what I have on the screen. This over here with the oval, this is called a mapping, a map. And remember how I told you guys that the x-coordinate and the y-coordinate have a relationship between them. You plug in x, it spits out y. This, like the ordered pairs, like the table, like the graph, is another way to show that relationship, that representation. Each one of these lines is a connection. So for instance, if I was writing my ordered pair, and I'm going to type it out here, the first thing I want to tell you is that we use these fancy brackets to say that this is a set of things. So if I was going to write my first ordered pair, let's take a look. I take -1, that's my x-coordinate, my one on my left, and I follow the line all the way to 2. That is my first set, my first point. And I keep going. I go to 3, and I follow the line, and so it goes 3 to -4. Basically, you want 1 point for every single one of these lines. So I take the next line. It starts at 4, and it goes to -6. And then I do my next one. It also starts at 4, and it goes to 2. And then I'm going to end that with my fancy little bracket. And that's all we're really doing here, is we're going to have these. Now, I am going to graph that. So for instance, I'm just going to quickly color code them. This one I'm going to do in yellow. This one will be my blue. Oh, that was ugly. Let's try that again. This blue, green, and red. These are my points. So graphing. I'm going to graph each one, and this is going to be the same representation that this is and that this is. Here, -1, 2. We start at the origin. -1 means 1 to the left in the x spot. +2 in the y spot means 2 up. Here's my first point. We do the blue one. Start at the origin. +3 in the x spot means 3 boxes to the right. -4 in the y spot means 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes down. We do green. Start at the origin. +4 in the x spot goes 4 boxes to the right. -6 in the y spot goes -6 boxes down. Red. Start at the origin. +4 boxes is 4 boxes to the right. +2 boxes is 2 boxes up. This graph is the same representation that this map is and that this is. Why do we have all these different representations? They will be useful for different things. Sometimes you need just a pair of points. Sometimes this map really shows you how the data is related. And sometimes the graph is the most helpful. So this is just another way we're going to learn how to represent data, but there are many different ways to kind of represent that. Now, this is your chance. I want you to try on your own. Try this one out and then compare. So I want you to pause the video and try this problem out. All right, I'm assuming that you have paused this video. So I'm going to have my typing here, have my fancy squiggly mark, and set up my points. So my very first one goes from -2 to -3. So on the left, -2 is my x, -3 is my y on the right there. Next point goes from 1 to 2. So 1 is my y coordinate and 2 is my x. Next point is 5 to 4. 5 is my x coordinate and 4 is my y. And last one there is 9 to 2. Oops, sorry, my 4 keys busted. 9 is my y coordinate and 9 is my x coordinate and 2 is my y coordinate. These are my points. This time I'm just going to go straight into it. This one here, I'm going to start at the origin. -2 is 2 to the left. Negative in the x spot, in the y spot, -3 is 3 down. There's my first point. We do our next one, 1, 2. We start at the origin. 1 is 1 to the right in the x spot. +2 is 2 up in the y spot. We do the next one here now. 5, 4. Start at the origin. +5 in the x spot is 5 boxes to the right. +4 on the y spot is 4 boxes up. Last one here, 9, 2. We start at the origin. +9 in the x spot is 9 boxes to the right. +2 in the y spot is 2 up, and this is the same representation of data that this one is and this one is. Again, they all have different purposes. Now we're going to take this data and we're going to make a mapping using it. Give me 1 second. I figured it'd be more helpful if I actually had the numbers here. So here's what I'm gonna do. You really should have them in order. But I personally don't think it matters too much. I'm just gonna go straight down, and on the left I'm gonna have all my x coordinates, but I'm not going to repeat. So for instance, this first point here I have a 2. This next point here has a 2, but I already have a 2, so I don't need to repeat it. My next number is 6, then it's 8, then it's 11. These are all my x points. Now I'm going to do my y points in the same idea. You don't need to repeat. So I have -9, -2, 8, 1, -7. These are all the y coordinates. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw lines between them. So for instance, this point here says that we go from 2 and we go to -9. This one here says we also go to 2, but we go to -2. This one here says we start at 6, but we go to 8. So for every point, there should be a line. So I should end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. 8, we go to 1. From 11, we go to -7. Like I said, you can have it in order. You really should have it in order. But I wanted you guys to just see that I'm just taking the points from there. Now, I want you guys to try this one on your own. Try to put both your numbers in order. I'm going to pause it. You guys should pause the video, try it out, and then compare your answers. So this is your chance to pause. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the numbers and then I'm going to edit them afterwards. So my left side always has my x coordinate. So I have 3, -1, 2, and -4. Now I'm going to put those in order. -4 is actually my smallest number. So I'm going to put that up top. 3 is actually my biggest number. I'm going to put that on the bottom. So now that I've fixed it, I now have my numbers in order. Now I'm going to take all my y coordinates. I have -1 in the y spot. I have 5. I have another -1. And I have 3. This almost goes in order, but the 5 is the issue. So I'm going to take the 5, if it will let me. Thank you. Put it under the 3. Let me make it a little bigger. That's better. And we're going to do the same thing. So I have 4 points, so I should have 4 lines. I go from the 3 to the -1, that's 1 point. I go from the -1 to the 5, that's another point. And I go from the 2 to the -1, it's another one. And then I go from -4 to 3. And there are all my lines. And that's really all there is to what we did today. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to shoot me a message, remind, email, ask me next time you see me in class. Let me know how I can help.